Princeton University Press Audio presents The Individualists, Radicals, Reactionaries, and the Struggle for the Soul of Libertarianism by Matt Zwolinski and John Tomasi. Read by Leon Nixon. Introduction. This book is a history of libertarian thought. But what is libertarianism? It depends on whom you ask. If you were to ask an academic philosopher to list some well-known libertarians, they would probably begin, and possibly end, with Robert Nozick. Nozick published Anarchy, State, and Utopia in 1974, and that book has represented libertarianism in undergraduate philosophy courses ever since. If you were to ask an economist, the answer might be Milton Friedman, winner of the Nobel Prize in Economics in 1976. Friedman wrote libertarian classics such as Capitalism and Freedom, 1962, and Free to Choose, 1980. If you asked a philosophically precocious high school student, you might get a different answer. Ayn Rand. Rand's The Fountainhead, 1943, and Atlas Shrugged, 1957, have sold tens of millions of copies and continue to serve as a gateway to libertarianism for many. A different name you might encounter, especially from political activists outside the academy, is Murray Rothbard. Author of For a New Liberty, 1973, Rothbard was such a tireless promoter of libertarian ideas that he was known by many as Mr. Libertarian. Now, imagine that we brought together our philosopher, economist, high school student, and general reader to ask them a related question. What do libertarians believe? Our group would probably start with basics like, libertarians don't like government, and they're obsessed with private property, and libertarians love capitalism and hate socialism. If we invited group members to elaborate and share more detailed impressions, they might add, they seem to care more about logic than about people, and they think every social problem can be solved by markets. Warming to the topic, group members might volunteer. They support corporations against workers, and libertarians are against social justice, and they are racially insensitive and may even be racist. Getting closer to the nub now, group members might continue. Libertarians claim to combine the best ideas from the left and the right, but when it comes down to it, they most always side with the right. And basically, libertarians are social Darwinists. This book tells the story behind those responses. It is an intellectual history of libertarianism. Like every intellectual history, ours is written from a particular moment in time, and is addressed to a particular set of priors in the minds of listeners of our era. This was the great challenge in writing this book. For we are in a period, or perhaps are only just beginning to emerge from a period, in which the mental model that listeners bring to our topic is to an unusual degree already fixed. Today, a small and relatively homogeneous group of figures, all writing in the same country and against the same historical background, effectively defines libertarianism for most readers. To the list of late 20th century figures just mentioned, Nozick, Friedman, Rand, Rothbard, we might add a few others, such as Ludwig von Mises, F.A. Hayek, and Rose Wilder Lane. But this canon remains compact. The prominence of this particular group of libertarians, writing in the same country during the same era, threatens to set the parameters within which any intellectual history of libertarianism must be told. This book argues that libertarianism has a longer, wider, and more diverse history than is commonly believed. As our opening list of names suggests, most contemporary listeners will think of libertarianism as a quintessentially American doctrine that emerged in the 20th century. In fact, libertarianism was born in the 19th century, not the 20th, and was first developed in Britain and France, only later making its way to the United States. From the start, libertarians were known for advocating ideas such as private property, free markets, and individualism. Of course, many earlier classical liberals, such as John Locke, Adam Smith, and David Hume, had endorsed similar ideas. But what sets libertarians apart is the absolutism and systematicity with which they affirm the more gentle and compromising ideas of the classical liberals.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?